Everyone was asleep, but the dog heard something no one else did. He ran toward the danger, but when the lights turned on, no one was ready for what they saw. Sometimes, what seems terrifying is just something scared, waiting to be saved. And sometimes,
it was a calm night in a peaceful neighborhood, the kind of night where even the wind seemed too polite to disturb the silence. Street lights cast a soft amber glow across the empty road outside, stretching long shadows over parked cars and quiet lawns. Inside the house, everything felt still, almost frozen in time. The lights were dim, reduced to a faint golden hue from a single lamp left on in the living room. It created a cozy but sleepy atmosphere, where shadows gently clung to the corners of the walls. The rest of the house lay in darkness. Doors were closed, curtains drawn, and the soft rhythm of sleep filled every room. In the corner of the living room, curled tightly on his bed, lay Max, a loyal golden retriever with soft, golden fur that shimmered faintly under the low light. His chest rose and fell slowly, peacefully. One paw twitched slightly as he dreamed, perhaps chasing something only dogs could see. The ticking of the wall clock echoed faintly through the room. Tick, tick, tick. Each second stretched longer than the last, blending into the quiet like a steady heartbeat. There was nothing unusual. Nothing out of place. Just another ordinary night. Outside, the world slept. Inside, the silence deepened. Then, a sound. So faint it could have been mistaken for imagination. A soft thump. Max's ear twitched. For a moment, nothing else followed. The silence returned, as if the house itself had swallowed the noise. Max remained still, his eyes still closed, but something had changed. His breathing slowed, listening. Then it came again. A little clearer this time. Thump. Followed by a subtle scraping sound. Max's eyes snapped open. His ears shot straight up, fully alert now. The calm, sleepy dog from seconds ago was gone. In his place stood something instinctive, aware. His body stiffened as he slowly lifted his head. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It wasn't from upstairs. It was coming from below. The basement. A low, almost inaudible growl formed in his throat. His gaze locked toward the hallway where the basement door stood, barely visible in the dim light. Another sound echoed faintly through the floorboards. Not loud. Not aggressive. But wrong. Max rose slowly from his bed, his movements careful, deliberate. His paws made no sound against the floor, as he stood there, staring into the darkness. Listening. Waiting. The house, once peaceful, now felt different. Heavier. Like something unseen had quietly entered, and was no longer alone. Max didn't bark. He didn't move. He just stood there. Frozen between instinct and curiosity. Because deep down, he knew. Something was down there. The silence didn't last. For a brief moment after Max stood up, everything went still again, like the house was holding its breath. The ticking clock continued its slow rhythm, but now even that sound felt distant, almost drowned out by the tension building in the air. Max didn't move. His eyes remained fixed on the dark hallway leading to the basement door. His ears stayed upright, perfectly tuned, catching even the slightest vibration. Then, thump. This time, it was louder. Clearer. Not imagination. Max's body tensed instantly. A low growl rolled from deep within his chest, soft but warning. The fur along his back lifted slightly, a natural instinct kicking in. And then came another sound. Scratch. Scrape. It dragged slowly, like something shifting across a hard surface. Max took a cautious step forward. Then another. Each movement was silent, controlled. His paws barely touched the floor as he advanced toward the hallway. His breathing had changed now, slower, deeper, focused. The friendly, relaxed dog from earlier was gone. Now, he was alert. Protective. The kind of presence that didn't belong. As he reached the entrance of the hallway, the air felt colder. The faint warmth from the living room faded behind him, replaced by a still, heavy chill. The basement door stood ahead. Slightly open. Max froze again. He hadn't noticed that before. A thin line of darkness stretched from the gap, like a shadow spilling out into the hallway. No light. No movement. Just black emptiness waiting beyond the door. Then. Scratch. Thump. Louder now. Closer. Max's growl deepened. His lips curled slightly, revealing a hint of his teeth, not in aggression, but in warning. His instincts were clear, something wasn't right. He tilted his head slightly, listening harder. The sound wasn't random. It had rhythm. Movement. Something, alive. Max stepped closer to the door, his eyes locked onto the darkness inside. His nose twitched as he tried to catch a scent, but the air carried nothing familiar. No human. No known animal. Just, something strange. Another scrape echoed from below, followed by a faint dragging noise, like something trying to move, or escape. Max let out a sharper growl this time. His tail was stiff, unmoving. The house remained silent behind him, his owner still asleep, unaware of what was unfolding just a few feet away. Max stood alone at the edge of something unknown. The gap in the basement door seemed wider now. Darker. Waiting. For a split second, hesitation crossed his posture. Not fear. But caution. Then slowly, carefully. He lifted one paw and stepped forward. Closer to the door. Closer to whatever was making that sound. Because whatever was down there wasn't leaving. And now, neither was he. Max stood just inches away from the basement door now. The narrow gap between the door and its frame seemed darker than anything else in the house, like it wasn't just an absence of light, but something deeper. Something that swallowed everything beyond it. He leaned forward slightly, his nose twitching as he tried again to catch a scent. Nothing. No familiar smell. No clear warning. Just cold, stale air brushing faintly against his face. For a moment, everything went silent again. No scratching. No thumping. Nothing. Max's ears flicked, confused but still alert. Then. Scratch. A sudden, sharp sound broke the silence from below. Max flinched slightly, his muscles tightening instantly. A low growl escaped his throat again, stronger this time, more certain. Whatever was down there, was still moving. Slowly, carefully, Max raised his head and nudged the door with his nose. The wood shifted. Creak. The sound echoed through the hallway, louder than it should have been. The door opened a few more inches, revealing the top of the basement staircase. Darkness. Thick and heavy. It poured upward like a shadow trying to escape. Max took a small step back, just for a second, instinct pulling him away from the unknown. His breathing grew heavier, but his eyes never left the opening. He had a choice. Stay. Or find out. Another faint noise drifted up from below. Drag. Scrape. Longer this time. Slower. Almost like something struggling. Max's ears shifted forward again. That sound. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't fast or threatening. It sounded wrong. Like something trapped. His growl softened, though the tension in his body remained. Curiosity began to push against fear. Carefully, Max stepped forward again, closing the small distance he had created. He lowered his head slightly and pushed the door further open. Creak. Now it stood wide enough to reveal the staircase completely. Old wooden steps descended into darkness, each one barely visible, as the faint light from the hallway reached only the top few stairs. Beyond that, everything faded into black. Max stood at the edge. Still. Watching. Listening. The air from below felt colder now, creeping up the stairs like a warning. A faint smell lingered, dust, old wood, something unfamiliar buried beneath it. His tail remained stiff, but his posture shifted. More focused. Less hesitant. Another sound echoed from deep within the basement. Quieter now. Weaker. Scratch. Max tilted his head slightly. That wasn't the sound of something hunting. That was the sound of something trying to get free. For a brief moment, the tension in his body eased. Not gone. But changed. Determined. Max placed one paw onto the first step. He paused. Listening one last time. The house behind him remained silent. Peaceful. Unaware. Then, without making a sound, he began his descent into the darkness. One step at a time. Toward whatever was waiting below. Max's paw touched the first step. The wood gave a faint creak beneath his weight, the sound echoing unnaturally into the darkness below. He froze for a second, ears twitching, listening for any reaction. Nothing. But the silence didn't feel safe. It felt watchful. Slowly, he took another step down. Then another. Each step carried him further away from the warm light of the living room above. The faint glow behind him began to shrink, replaced by a thick, suffocating darkness that seemed to wrap around his body. The air changed. Colder. Damp. Heavy with the smell of dust, old wood, and something unfamiliar. Max's breathing became more controlled, quieter. His instincts had fully taken over now, every movement calculated, every sound analyzed. Halfway down the stairs. Scratch. Drag. The noise came again. Louder now. Closer. Max stopped instantly. His body lowered slightly, ready to react. A low growl vibrated from his chest, barely audible, but filled with warning. His eyes strained to see through the darkness. Shapes began to form, vague outlines of objects scattered across the basement floor. Old furniture. Boxes. Tools left forgotten. And somewhere in that mess, something moved. A faint shifting shadow. Max's ears snapped forward. His heartbeat quickened. He took another step. Then another. Until his paw finally touched the basement floor. The sound echoed. And this time, the movement stopped. Completely. The silence that followed was even worse than the noise. Max stood still in the darkness, his body tense, eyes locked ahead. He wasn't alone anymore. He could feel it. Something was there. Watching. Waiting. Max's growl deepened as his eyes adjusted to the darkness. And then, he saw them. Two faint glows in the distance. Eyes. staring directly at him. Max barked sharply, the sound exploding through the basement and breaking the silence like glass. The glowing eyes flinched. Then shifted. A shadow moved behind a pile of broken furniture, partially hidden, but clearly alive. Max barked again, louder, more aggressive this time. His body leaned forward, protective instinct overriding fear. The shape moved again. Slow. Uneven. Not like something hunting. More like something, struggling. The glowing eyes blinked rapidly, reflecting what little light reached the basement. Max paused for a fraction of a second. His growl didn't stop, but it changed. Less anger. More confusion. The figure tried to move again. Scrape. Drag. The same sound from before. Now clearer. Max took a cautious step forward. The shadow shifted again, revealing more of its form, but still not enough to understand. Another bark from Max echoed. This time, the figure froze completely. Both of them stood there, locked in a silent standoff. Fear on both sides. Unknown meeting unknown. Max barked again, louder than before. Upstairs, something changed. A sudden noise. Footsteps. Lights flicking on. Max? A voice called out, filled with confusion and concern. Max didn't look back. His eyes remained fixed on the shadow. The glowing eyes shifted nervously now. More movement upstairs. Faster footsteps. The basement light switch clicked. For a split second. Nothing happened. Then. Flicker. A weak light bulb above sparked to life, casting unstable, flickering light across the basement. The darkness began to retreat, slowly revealing the truth. The shadow wasn't growing. It was shrinking. Becoming clearer. More real. The figure in the corner froze completely as the light reached it. Max stopped barking. But he didn't relax. Not yet. The footsteps rushed down the stairs behind him. What's going on? The owner's voice echoed. And then, the light fully stabilized. Everything became visible. The terrifying figure wasn't a monster. It was a small stray animal. Thin. Dirty. Its fur tangled and messy. Its body caught in a web of old wires and broken debris. The glowing eyes that once seemed frightening were now filled with fear. Not danger. Fear. The animal tried to move again. But couldn't. The wires tightened around it. It let out a weak, desperate sound. Max's posture changed instantly. His growl faded. His ears lowered slightly. He took a slow step forward, not aggressive this time, but careful. Curious. Gentle. The owner rushed past him, then suddenly stopped. Oh no. The fear in their voice softened into concern. They slowly approached the trapped animal, careful not to startle it further. It's okay, it's okay. Their hands moved gently, starting to untangle the wires. The animal struggled at first, but not to attack. To escape. Max stood close by. Watching. Alert. But calm now. The tension in the room had shifted completely. From fear to understanding. The last wire loosened. The animal finally broke free. For a second, it didn't move. Just sat there. Breathing heavily. Shaking. The owner stepped back slightly, giving it space. Max sat down slowly, keeping a respectful distance. No barking. No growling. Just quiet presence. The animal looked at them both. Still scared. But no longer trapped. After a moment, it carefully stood up. Weak, but free. Max tilted his head slightly, watching it. The basement no longer felt dark or threatening. It felt calm. Safe. The light above shone steadily now, filling every corner that once held fear. The unknown had become known. The terrifying had become helpless. And the danger was never danger at all. Just something scared. Alone. Needing help. Max lay down quietly beside the stairs, his job done. The house returned to silence. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was peaceful. Because sometimes, the scariest sounds in the dark are just cries for help. Paw prints.